Some can take down a human with only one bite. We're talking about killer bees that are found in swarms in parks.
Most dangerous insects in the world, as well as the insects that deliver the most painful bites and stings. So, let's get cracking.
Caterpillar Plush. This worm has a curious body with hair full of poisonous spines. Their presence is becoming a problem in the United States due to the number of children being stung and hospitalized. Contact with their spines produces pain similar to breaking a bone, as well as burning, nausea, headaches, blisters, chest pain, and shortness of breath. If you come in contact with it, you can stick tape over the skin and pull out the hard-to-remove thorns to avoid all the symptoms of poisoning. Japanese giant hornet. The Asian giant hornet can measure up to 2 inches and has a stinger that is 0.4 inches long. Its venom is so powerful that it destroys the tissue it stings. Every year, more than 70 people die from stings in China. It uses its gigantic 2.9-inch long wings to chase its victims at 40 miles per hour. It is a real danger if you are in its sight.
If disturbed, they can attack humans as well, and will repeatedly sting with their venom, which can cause anaphylactic shock in those who are allergic. In Japan alone, their stings kill 30 to 50 people each year.
Killer bees. These bees were created from the breeding between South American bees and other bees brought from Africa. Individually, their venom is not very potent, but when they bite, they release hormones that attract their friends, which make them great specialists in group attacks. There are people who suffered 500 bites and survived, but others have died with only one bee sting.
Sweet and sour relationship with these guys. While they make for some pretty good honey, Africanized honeybees are also often referred to as killer bees, due to their short fuse and how furiously it attacks any intruders. It is a hybrid between the African honeybee and one of several European honeybee subspecies. In Brazil, these bees have already killed 1,000 people who got too close to their nests. We'll let you decide if these guys are worth their honey.
Chilean recluse spider. Unlike most spiders, this one only has 6 eyes instead of 8, distributed in 3 pairs. They live in little areas of the house, such as attics and basements, so it is very likely that you have seen it in yours. Its webs are shaped like rags. When a person is bitten, they see no external effects until after 7 hours. However, internally, the venom spreads in a matter of seconds and causes contraction of the blood vessels and renal failure. Wounds from the bites can measure up to 9.8 inches. If the venom affects the internal organs, gangrene may occur. In case you are bitten, put ice on the wound because the poison spreads better in the heat. Waterana obliqua. This bad-looking larva has a long history of deaths in southern Brazil. It measures 2 inches and has thorns with pockets full of anticoagulant venom. When injected into the body, this venom causes gangrene and bleeding in the internal organs. In the end, the victim ends up dying of a brain stroke. Cone snail. This animal possesses one of the most powerful poisons in the world and does not need to move to kill. Like every snail, it stands still on the seafloor until its prey appears. Then he fires a harpoon so powerful that it cuts through the gloves and the suits of divers who plunge into the seabed to get their shells. Once stuck, the harpoon releases its deadly poison. People who are bitten experience muscle numbness, visual defects, respiratory failure, and death. There is a subspecies known as the cigarette snail cone, because after being bitten, you only have time to smoke 1 cigarette. Black widow spider. This spider is called the black widow because the female eats the male after mating. You can easily identify it. It is black with a red spot on the lower abdomen. If you see it, be very careful because its venom is 15 times more toxic than that of a rattlesnake. People who have suffered bites say they have felt a puncture followed by intense muscle pain. The poison paralyzes the central nervous system and blocks the transmission of nerve impulses. While this happens, cramps and an increase of the circulation affect the body too. In the end, death is caused by cardiorespiratory arrest. fat-tailed scorpion. If the name is suggestive, the scientific name is quite frightening. It is known as Androctus australis, which means killer of southern men. This animal can reach up to 3.9 inches in length and likes to get into the cracks in the walls, waiting to sting. They are usually yellow, although the last segments of their tail and their pincers are black. If you get stung, you will feel dizzy, become excessively sweaty, suffer muscle cramps, and have high blood pressure and increased heart rate. You can end up dead in 2 hours.
Say hello to the Indian red scorpion, but preferably from a safe distance. Out of all scorpions in the world, the Indian red scorpion is considered the most lethal by far. This ancient creature is small, often lives near people, and has a stinger loaded with venom so potent it can kill an adult human within under 3 days if left untreated. It preys on these spiders using its paralyzing stinger. It lays its larvae inside the spider's body and lets it keep on living so its hatchlings can feed on the spider's insides. A female tarantula hawk, which hunts tarantulas to feed its larvae, has one of the most painful insect stings in the world to both spider and humans.
Banana spider. This spider has the Guinness record for being the most poisonous in the world. It is extremely fast and aggressive. If it is threatened, it will rise onto its hind legs and try to sink its jaws into you. It lives in the warm forest of South America, but it is nomadic, making it the terror of farmers in the banana fields and the inhabitants of the tropical ports, because they don't know when the spiders might appear. Its venom is extremely powerful, and only 0.006 milligrams of this can kill a mouse. A human can die only 25 minutes after being bitten. Before then, they will suffer from tachycardia, vomiting, blurred vision, and great pain. Sea wasp. This jellyfish lives in the seas of northern Australia and is considered to be the most dangerous in the world. Its belly can grow to be the size of a basketball, and from it sprouts 4 clusters of 15 tentacles each. These are 3 meters long, and when they make contact with skin, they shoot microscopic darts that inject their poison. Each sea wasp has enough poison available to kill 60 people. This jellyfish is transparent, making it very difficult for bathers to see. It has 4 groups of 24 eyes. The sting is extremely painful and feels like burning iron. Its venom makes the body's cells more porous. This allows potassium to filter between them and produce heart failure. Victims take 2 to 5 minutes to die, so many don't even make it.
Mosquitoes. This list wouldn't be complete without the most dangerous animal to humans on the planet, mosquitoes. Aside from malaria, mosquitoes are also responsible for infecting people with West Nile virus, dengue, and yellow fever, and are responsible for killing more people than all the wars in history combined.
You got that right, a kissing bug. This, however, is a kiss you don't want to encounter. The bug leaves lethal feces when it bites, which can cause a chronic illness that leads to flu-like symptoms. There's no cure for the illness, and in some cases, it causes an enlarged heart and the thinning of the colon. This bug is attracted to carbon dioxide, which humans breathe out, and that's the reason most of their bites are around the mouths. Their bites occur mostly at night, and they're said to cause a numbing effect on the area that they bite, meaning you don't feel it when you're being bitten. While bug spray works perfectly as a repellent, they can enter homes using any opening, and more so, they can get into door cracks easily. Time to do a home innovation. Brown Recluse. This is a very shy spider. That said, it's very deadly and has the power to melt human flesh. Its venom is so potent it can break down skin, fat and blood cells, a process called necrosis. This is, however, in very rare cases. People who are bitten by the spider experience minor discomfort, swelling and redness. The symptoms clear within 3 days without any medical interventions. They can also render severe pain, ulcers, chills and nausea, as well as joint pains and seizures. Luckily, they are shy and don't come out in openly crowded spaces. They like attics and garages. They're the most feared and misunderstood spiders in America. One bite from this fly is enough to bring on lethal sleep. It has a saw-like mouth and tears and rips the skin while sucking blood. As if that wasn't bad enough, it also transmits serious tropical diseases. When it bites its victims, symptoms such as fever, aching and headache are common. As time goes by, the illness becomes worse. A feeling of tiredness is the most common symptom, which is why it's called sleeping sickness. The disease affects the brain and can cause a personality change, confusion and poor coordination. Medical treatments are available but can be dangerous and even toxic, mostly if the disease gets to the brain. Tsetse flies are found in Central Africa. As of now, they're said to have been completely eradicated, but it's suspected that there are a few cases that go unreported in the villages. The fly is one of the few that feed young ones with milk when they're born, much like humans. They get very few offspring, and when they're born they come out of the uterus fully grown, fed and healthy. These flies will make you cry. They don't necessarily live such a long life, and that said, they have the most peculiar habits. First off, they mate, then hatch the eggs, and then stash them into the bodies of insects such as ticks and mosquitoes. When the eggs are left out, they easily burrow into our skin and feed off the skin until they're all grown up, and fly away, and repeat the process all over again. The larvae of the eggs cause holes to open up on the skin of victims, making them vulnerable to bacteria and diseases which can easily enter through the wounds. There are a few ways to treat someone who's been affected by bot flies. The eggs can be removed by tweezers. Doctors also prescribe some antibiotics or even bacon, which is less painful than tweezers. All you have to do is attach the piece of bacon to the affected area, and the bot flies will attach themselves to the bacon instead. Just don't eat the bacon afterwards if you know what's good for you.
Octopus. There are 4 different species of blue-ringed octopus, each of which lives in the waters of the Pacific and Indian Oceans, and each of which is extremely dangerous and should never ever be touched or picked up. This is because they're regarded as being the world's most venomous animal, and each individual contains enough venom to kill 26 adults. This is surprising considering they grow to be no more than 8 inches long. And their beautiful coloration and docile nature means that people instinctively want to pick them up if they see them in the water or in a rock pool. This is a big mistake, however, because the bite of a blue-ringed octopus is almost impossible to feel, and the first sign you'll get that you've been envenomed is when the symptoms start to happen. Their venom contains several powerful chemicals, including tetrodotoxin, dopamine, taurine, and histamine. It's more than 1,200 times more powerful than cyanide and leads to paralysis within minutes. It's a particularly horrible way to die because most deaths occur due to the inability to breathe. And before that happens, you're also likely to become nauseous, lose your sense of sight, and won't be able to move at all. So wouldn't be able to tell anyone nearby what's happening. There's no antivenom for this sting, so if a lethal dose makes its way into your system, you'd better pray it out.
If you like this video, hit like, share, subscribe. Thank you for watching.